Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be reacting to Colby Covington calling out Ian Garry, Ian Garry responding, and Ian Garry's wife, Layla Machado Garry, debunking some lies about, Colby Covington and just the MMA fan base in general. So let's get right into it, and let's start with Colby's call-out video.
Thanks, nerds and virgins. It's America's champ, the people's champ, Donald Trump's favorite fighter. We're in beautiful sunny South Florida. Most people, they work 60 years just to get a taste of the good life. This is what I live every day. We just shot 18 holes at Trump International, West Palm Beach. Now we're out here selling on 7 figures and salty nerd tears. Usually when you're out here, it's all about fishing. Everybody knows when you're going fishing, it's important to have the right bait. So let me teach you all a lesson about how you bait someone. Ian Garry, you translucent cuck. You wanted my attention? Now you got it. Everybody knows why you want to fight me, Ian. I'm the biggest star in the division. It's big city, bright lights, and the most attention and eyes you're ever going to have on you when it fight. But everybody knows, Ian, you missed your chance. You had your chance in December to step on the same stage as me and have a microphone and say whatever you want to say to me. But you were scared. You were scared of what I was going to say to you, and you got the sniffles, and you cried your way out. That was just a taste of what I could do to you.
Okay, let me just stop it there for 1 second. He was scared that Colby Covington was going to berate him on stage and stutter over his own words. So scared that he simultaneously got sick. Yeah, that makes total sense, Colby Covington. Let's continue.
You, Ian, all I did was ask the 5,000 people in attendance how many people banged your wife. It's not my fault every single...
Completely classless, by the way, to bring that up to the crowd, who obviously hated Ian Garry. But again, let's continue.
Single one of them rose their hand. If you're scared of that, Ian, if you're scared of words, what do you think it's gonna be like when you step in a steel cage with chaos? You just went life and death with a guy that does this part-time and is a busboy Outback.
Life and death, I mean, is completely outclassing someone as good as Jeff Neal considered life is death. I mean, he clearly won that fight.
Dude serves bloomin' onions for a living. And you went to a split decision with that guy? Now you want Donald Trump's
favorite fighter, aka the fighter that Donald Trump walked out on during his post-fight interview the last 3 times he fought.
Favorite fighter? That's a big step up in competition, Junior. You're biting off more than you can chew. You know what? I'm a giving man. I'm a kind man. I like to give everyone a chance. So everybody knows, Ian, what's in it for you. But what's in it for me? Tell me, why do I gotta go down in the rankings to fight some Casper the Ghost looking Irish kid who has a gold digging wife? Let me teach you the art of the deal, Ian. Let's come to a compromise. If you can meet these 3 stipulations, we gotta fight. Stipulation number 1. You and that gold digging whore gotta turn your Instagram comments back.
Okay, so I've seen this video already, but the first stipulation just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. He wants Ian Garry to turn his comments back on. Why are so many people obsessed with another grown man's comments? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But let's continue to hear him out, I guess.
And if you turn them off before the fight, you forfeit the fight. If you turn them off during fight week or after I beat your ass, you forfeit your purse. Stipulation number 2. Ian, we've heard you cry and beg on your knees, but we all know that you're not the boss and you don't wear the pants in the relationship. Layla, you got 60 seconds to convince me and the people why this fight needs to happen. So put your husband in the corner, get on your hands and knees, and beg. Now for stipulation number 3, my personal favorite. As you all might have noticed, something's been missing from my MyBookie promos lately. That's because I've been saving that spot for a special someone. Layla, you want to be a star? You want the spotlight? I got it for you, sweetie. You want your 15 seconds of fame, Layla? I'll give you your 15 seconds of fame right here for America's Pick of the Week. After I beat your husband, because that's a foregone conclusion, I will beat him. He's going to sit in the corner just like he does with all that cuck stuff you guys do, and he's going to watch while you get your 15 seconds of fame. Ball's in your court now, cuck boy. I'll have my lawyers draft.
Okay, anyways, we're going to cut it off there. But essentially, if you guys don't know what Colby Covington is doing here, I'm going to explain it to you real nice and simple. Now I'm sounding like Colby Covington, stuttering over my own words. Colby Covington does not want to fight Ian Garry. So he's creating these stipulations to try to, have an out. Say, oh, Ian Garry didn't do the 3 stipulations, so I'm not going to fight him. I've been seeing a lot of people saying, oh, Ian Garry versus Colby Covington is going to happen and getting all excited. This fight is never going to happen. Ian Garry will never, agree to these stipulations. And then Colby Covington's going to say, well, he didn't turn on his comments, he didn't send a video of his wife, begging for me to fight him, so I'm not going to fight him, which is just completely ridiculous. And I mean, to be honest, just embarrassing from Colby Covington to even think for a second that these 3 stipulations would be met. So let's go ahead and move on to Ian Garry responding to that video of Colby Covington.
Here, Colby Chaos Covington, you are in no position to tell me what I should be doing in life. You'll do as you're told. And down! And down!
Now listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Ian Garry, but in this whole situation, I'm definitely rooting for Ian Garry to beat the dog shit out of Colby if the fight does happen. And that edit was pretty clever, I'll have to give him that.
You gave me 3 stipulations, all of which had nothing to do about fighting. But we're all talking about my wife.
Layla, get on your hands and knees and beg.
I don't.
Literally, dude is obsessed with another grown man's wife. This is what happens when, you only pay OnlyFans models to stand by your side during your America's Pick of the Week, as he calls it. And, you don't actually put any time into effort into making any relationship of any sort. You dream about another man's wife nonstop.
I don't know how you were raised, but women aren't property and my wife definitely ain't no trophy. You should be focusing on me. I'm the one who's in that octagon with you. I'm the one who's going to punch a hole in your head. So stop swerving me and keep Layla's name out your mouth.
How many of you guys have fucked Ian Garry's wife?
You're not America's favorite fighter. What you are is a peak underperformer. You're the
A peak underperformer. I have said that about Colby Covington so many times, and that is exactly, it's like he took the words out of my mouth. I mean, Colby Covington, every chance he gets at the title or to prove his worth in the UFC, he just goes out there and puts on a shit-stained performance. Let's continue.
the only person in UFC history to lose 3 world title fights, and you haven't got a single win against anybody in the top 15 right now. So Colby, why should I fight you? I can think of one reason.
Okay, so basically he goes on to challenge Colby to an I quit match, which basically means no time limit, no rule set. The first person to say I quit loses, which is completely ridiculous. No commission would ever sanction that in a fight. So, I mean, that part's kind of corny, but you get the point. He's basically saying, I'm not going to agree to these bullshit stipulations you put on me, and it just doesn't make any sense for me to fight you in the first place anyways. I want to fight you to, remove you from the UFC. Because he has no wins in the top 15, so why should he fight you? He's basically clapping back at Colby when Colby asks, why should I fight you? So I thought this was a great response from Ian Garry, and I do think he said everything right, except for the ending with the corny I quit match. But I mean, even at the end of the video, him saying that he was going to be, the last chapter in Colby Covington's book of failure in the UFC was just brilliant in my opinion. Now let's look at what his wife had to say to all the fans and Colby Covington and just other fighters in general who have been berating her, which is completely, to be honest, embarrassing. Why are you a grown man who has a professional fighting career who is berating another grown man's wife? I mean, is attacking people's family the new norm in, the UFC? I mean, Anthony Smith is going to lose his shit once he finds out this is the new norm. Let's take a look at this video.
Believed about Ian Garry. There are obviously many, many more. I'd argue over 99% of what you read is a lie, but we're going to stick with 3 today, and these are important. The crowd at UFC 298 press conference were loud. The boos were undeniable as Ian took to the stage, and a bloke behind me shouted, "Can I fuck your wife?" He had no idea I was there until I turned around and glared at him, to which he just disintegrated into a wet puddle of apologies. This tsunami of aggression towards the undefeated welterweight all exploded when former middleweight title holder and current multiple world bullshit title holder Sean Strickland read a clickbait headline but didn't bother to fact check or read the whole article. Unsurprising, gullible behavior, but why would we expect anything else? Why would we expect anyone to fact check? We're in an age of headline only, attention deficit consumers.
That is true. People like to just read the headline and go with it. Just like, the Jamal Hill incident. I wish I had a channel when this happened, but Jamal Hill basically got charged with domestic assault and everyone assumed that he was a wife beater when he got into a disagreement with his brother. I'm not justifying what he did by any means, but that's just an example of how people take a headline and run with it, especially in the MMA community.
Journalism, bad people, and lazy consumerism are a perfect recipe for misinformation to explode and an unwarranted amount of hate to land on the shoulders of UFC's brightest prospect. So let's begin with lie number 1. Ian took his wife's ex-husband's surname. I can't believe anyone would accept this to be true, but the MMA community picked it up and ran a full marathon with it. In fact, some people are still running with it now, gripping on with sweaty, trembling fingers in order to justify blatant trolling. It's not true. It never was true. Machado is my maiden name.
She addresses the conspiracy, completely false conspiracy, that Ian Garry took his wife's ex-husband's last name. And Machado was her, maiden name, which, I mean, if you do any reading about it, you can figure that out. And the whole reason Ian Garry did that in the first place is so that his newborn wouldn't feel, disconnected from the family because he has a different last name. If you ask me, that's extremely commendable, and that just proves how much of a family man Ian Garry really is. But let's keep listening to what she has to say.
We added our names together when we got married. It's not that big a deal. Now that you know that it was a lie, you can kick yourself for believing it, preferably in the face. Lie number 2, his wife's ex lives with them.
Lie number 2, his wife's ex lives with them.
There's a pattern here. A lot of the lies are about his wife. I'm so glad she's finally clearing it up. No, he doesn't. He never has done. I find that a bit weird. I wouldn't want to. No, this lie was born out of the mouth of an MMA YouTuber desperate for clicks.
This lie was born out of the mouth of an MMA YouTuber desperate for clicks, aka she's talking about the MMA Guru. Now, the MMA Guru, I watch a lot of his videos. He's a funny guy, but he did start the spread of a lot of misinformation with these videos that he put out about Ian Garry, and she's kind of addressing those lies now.
When you make a channel entirely dedicated to your opinion on others, you have to somewhat admit that your own talent isn't enough. You haven't got enough to entertain. You have to talk about other people in order to stay relevant.
So she's basically insinuating there that he has to, shoot shots at other people to entertain people, which isn't necessarily true, but I get where she's coming from. She's extremely frustrated due to the spread of misinformation about her situation with her husband.
Other people's hard work. This isn't fighting commentary. This is just self-indulgent numerical masturbation. When researching all the bullshit online, it was very clear to me why people are making so much of this content. You see, the numbers spike sharply anytime anyone's talking about Ian and his family. So much so that Kevin Holland's page looked like a full shrine to Ian Garry for a complete 3.
That is true. Kevin Holland completely dedicated an entire week to just posting about Ian Garry and his wife. Again, Kevin Holland, Sean Strickland, just completely disgraceful that you would, give this much attention to another man's family.
Weeks as he just kept regurgitating this Ian Garry content. You see, if you have no morals, no creativity, and you need to hit the numbers online, then the numbers are often worth the lie. Lie number 3. Ian is a cuck. Step back up, Sean.
Lie number 3. Ian Machado Garry is a cuck. And this has been regurgitated throughout the, MMA community since the fight week of UFC 296, and even, probably a week before that is when this all started. And this all started because Layla Machado Garry, or Layla Anna Lee, had written a book in the past, a satire audiobook labeled How to Be a Wag. And if you don't know what a wag is, it is a wife or girlfriend of a famous person, basically a gold digger in simple terms. Now, this book was a complete joke, and people took it in its serious context. British and Irish and Scottish humor, just the whole United Kingdom has different humor than around the rest of the world. And this book was meant to be satire, but all these people with, Americanized mindsets have just decided to take this book as complete 100% fact. And, is basically insinuating that she's a gold digger and she's wanted to, leech off Ian Garry. When you look at Ian Garry's purses for his, let's look at his last purse for his MMA fight against Jeff Neal at UFC 298. I believe he made 60 grand total before taxes. You want to explain to me how that's attractive to a gold digger? That's just enough to live nowadays. So in my opinion, those claims are completely baseless and make absolutely no sense. Let's finish off this video.
Sean Strickland, a man who's unlikely to be au fait with the Shakespearean English he unwittingly used when calling Ian a cuck. First penned in the story of Othello, the word cuckold refers to the fear of a man who's been betrayed by his wife. Sean Strickland has been talking an awful lot about Ian Garry's wife. I've been called a sexual predator, a paedophile, an abuser, all by the man who alleges he suffered that exact abuse as a child growing up.
I'm not going to finish the whole Shakespearean classic stuff, but what she's essentially referring to here is that Sean Strickland is projecting his own trauma onto Ian Garry and basically insinuating that Layla Machado Garry is a pedophile, a predator, basically just trying to take advantage of Ian Garry and abusing him simultaneously. So my question is, what have we learned through all of these 3 videos? The first takeaway, I have 3 takeaways, one for each video. The first takeaway is from the first video with Colby Covington, and that takeaway is that Colby Covington does not want to fight Ian Garry. I want to get that through your heads because he's just going to, go back online. I mean, he made another response video that we're not even going to look at because he just basically repeats himself talking about the stipulations and tries to, get under Ian Garry's skin some more. It's pointless for context. But Colby Covington, his real stipulations are that he doesn't want to fight anyone unless you're completely washed up like Wonder Boy and, you're on your last legs in the UFC, which is just completely embarrassing. The second takeaway, the takeaway from the Ian Garry video, he desperately wants to fight Colby Covington, but he is aware of what Colby Covington is doing, so he's tried to back him into a corner to a place where he can't say no. And now I've seen a split reaction from the MMA community about this video. A lot of them are just saying, oh, Ian Garry's cringe, he doesn't want to fight Colby. And then the other half of the fan base is seeing what Ian Machado Garry is doing here and basically saying, if Colby doesn't fight Ian Garry, I'm done, supporting Colby Covington. The last of Colby Covington fans are starting to see what's going on here. And the third takeaway I want to bring away from the Layla Machado Garry video is that people love to run with baseless claims about Ian Garry because it's the popular thing to do nowadays. Like she said in the video, it spikes your interaction rates, it spikes your views, your subscribers, your watch time, all of that stuff, it spikes. So people just want to, lie for some numbers. Now, that's pretty much it for these 3 videos. I mean, I do think there will probably be more, online warfare per se to go on, within these next couple weeks. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments and about what. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I just said that, but I really do hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did put some, effort into this one. And if you did enjoy, please like and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications if you never want to miss a video. And I hope you have an amazing day.